You see the waves there, and then from there into the greenery is actually coral, and that's what you have to kind of worry about here, I guess, if you're trying to land by boat. But this is Mark bringing it in. Here we are on final approach. We just seen a boat going out to sea. Here's another boat. This belongs to the caretaker on Palmyra. And here we are. Touchdown on the International Palmyra. Further than what you'll see right here in this video, or out the window of the plane, but I did see it later and do have some shots of it. There's a twin-engine plane just beyond this point right here that I understand some hams landed here some time back and didn't make it off of. The plane is right over there. What's left of it, it's piled up over there. Mark had a very nice landing here. The runway was Palmyra Leo. That's yours truly in the white hat. That's Harold Manasco with the sunglasses on. Pat Gruen NH7UY to the right of that, and Mark Kennedy just to the extreme right. These people in the background are some of the wildlife people. Other parties were there on the island when we got there. This is Rozier. He's the caretaker of the island. He stays there all the time for Ansley Fallard Leo. There's the gas there for the airplane to get out of there. I was kind of glad I didn't have to leave on that sucker. Getting there was okay. I don't know if I'd want to take that sand filtered gas plane out of there or not. That is a picture of the G1 that we flew out on. It's a real nice aircraft. The guy standing back there next to the plane in the hat is Ansley Fallard Leo, the owner of the island. And the white-headed fellow who is back to us is Dave Woodside. And Dave was on the original trip and all the trips. He's retired now, 74 years old. But he goes, the wildlife and fish service people, fish and wildlife service people contract him to go on every one of these trips. That's Dave there with his hands in his pocket. The guy there in the sunglasses and the long sleeve white shirt is Mark Thompson, our pilot, and again that's Ansley Fallard Leo there, the owner of the island, with the hands in the pocket. This trip to Palmyra, and I'm not so sure that Rusty Epps W60AT didn't have some knowledge of that. I'm not real sure. Seems like I remember something that Dave's gone by about that. Here we are loading up the stuff, and it's not going to be very long until Mark gets us, he was there to greet us, and he gets us down to the operating site that he has set up. He actually had two sites. He had one site, and the generator was keeping some people awake, so he had to relocate to another location, which actually turned out to be much better. Mark Kennedy in a four-wheeler to keep the birds off the runway for us to land. They'll have to do the same thing here in order for them to take off. And here we are in one of the buildings there. I'm not sure what this building was used for during the war. It was built by the Navy. And we're set up here with Harold carried this rig with him all the time, and our other stuff was packed away on the ship. We had Mark's rig, and we had this Yaesu rig here belonging to Harold. We carried each one of us carried a laptop, so we was able to get them hooked up and get on there. And Mark already had the antennas up, of course, and we just used the existing antennas. I was more Harold and I was a little more familiar with Harold's rig than I was Mark's, and that's the reason we used it. Plus, he had a problem on CW the last few days that he had operated. As you can tell, I'm not an experienced typer, but I found out you don't really have to be. Being CT is pretty quick. You just get them to the right, just copy down the right column, get chunked in, the rest of it is easy. This is Pat behind us. Pat rebuilt one of the generators, him and Joe. I told you we'd passed a boat as we came into the island. We seen a boat leaving. It was a fishing boat called the Again, and Chuck was, we found out when we got on the island, Chuck was on that boat, and he had contracted with that captain to carry him over to Kingman, and he was leaving as we was going, and he carried one of the generators, the smaller generator, and one of the other rigs, and that's the reason we had to dig this rig out to particularly do CW, since Mark had a problem and Chuck took the other one. The Joe and Pat tore the generator apart and had to work on the rectifier module in it and replace some diodes and get it going. And so they was down there doing that, and me and Harold was having fun operating. You notice a little audio feed there from the actual receiving, and also because of the setup to make this tape, I couldn't switch back and forth quick enough. But Pat back there working on the diode module, and Joe was down there doing something to the carburetor on the generator, and Pat's up there replacing the diodes. You can see it's 2200 Palmyra time, and we'd been there for some time, and was enjoying ourselves with this one station setup, trying to get the other one going. We're going to be here on Palmyra for approximately 24 hours. We got there at about 9:15, 9:30 local time in the morning, and they wanted to leave the boat to leave at 9 o'clock the following day, and we had already learned by Chuck leaving and going to chartering the boat to carry him over to Kingman that we were not going to get to 2 days on Kingman. And that's the specific reason for Chuck going out there earlier. Is trying to negotiate and get the wildlife people to allow us to go out to Kingman. The original deal was for us to go to Kingman when we left Palmyra and be there 2 days, and the boat wait on us anchored offshore. And then just about 7 or 8 days prior to leaving, well, actually I think it was 2 weeks prior to leaving, they had a problem. The guy that was the field director that was going on this trip was on Midway Island, and they had to fly him back to Honolulu to give an emergency surgery. And they replaced him with another guy, and the other guy was trying to get on board and get up to speed, and he felt like he would probably need those 2 days because he wasn't familiar with it, and we could not convince him that there was no useful purpose for the wildlife people to go to Kingman.